I'm not getting it.
That's the password for,
Yeah, that's a different
it's a
password.
different password, it's not the same.
Oh, well, I'll try this one.
That one, yeah, maybe your other one that you're thinking of might work there.
Yep.
Welcome to the organizational meeting of the Board of Education. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
The first order of business tonight is the administering of oaths of the newly elected board members, Barbara Frederico, Teresa Gito, and Gloria Tohill. I'm going to ask you please to read your oath and sign it and return it to me. Mrs. Frederico?
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of board member according to the best of my ability.
Mrs. Gito?
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of board member according to the best of my ability.
Mrs. Tohill?
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of board member according to the best of my ability.
Thank you. And I'd like to remind each board member to please read and sign the school board ethics guidelines and return them also to me. The next item on the agenda is the election of the president. May I have a nomination for the office of the president? Judy?
I'd like to nominate Gloria Tohill.
Do I have a second?
I second.
Is there any other nominations?
I'd like to nominate Christine Hayes.
Is there a second? Any other nominations? In your, on your area, you have a blue ballot. If you would please fill out your selection and, okay. We have 5 votes for Christine and 4 votes for Gloria. So may I have a motion to direct me to appoint Christine as the next president?
So moved.
Second? Okay.
Oh, too bad, Linda.
Linda loves that part.
It's short.
Okay. Go ahead.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and that I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of President of the Board of Education according to the best of my ability. And the next item on the agenda is the election of the Vice President. Is there a nomination? Alan?
I'd like to nominate Chris McManus.
Okay, is there a second? Gloria?
I'd like to nominate Kathy Barber.
A second.
Oh, sorry.
Seema? Seema second? Okay, Gloria. Kathy Barber, is there a second? Judy? Okay. So you all have the piece of the paper in front of you if you want to write down your selection. So there's 5 votes for Chris and 4 for Kathy. Chris, do you want to?
I could stay here you want me to stay here for today's meeting?
I don't care. You want to move? You want me to move?
No, that's whatever, that's fine.
Fine. The next.
Okay.
I do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of New York, and I will faithfully discharge the duties of the office of Vice President of the Board of Education according to the best of my ability.
Thank you. Okay, the next item on the agenda is appointment of officers. So we have appointment of the district clerk, district treasurer, deputy treasurer, tax collector, claims auditor, appointment of attendance officers. So can I have a motion? Gloria? Second, Seema? Are there any questions?
This is just F.
Yes. No, this is just E.
Just E.
Yep. If there's no other questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. And now we have other appointments. Appointment of legal counsel, medical director, school physicians, auditor for annual audit of books of the school district, internal auditor, bank reconciliations, Dignity Act coordinator. Should I read all these? Through item 30. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Barbara, second, Alan. Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes. G, designations. We have designation of the official newspaper, official bank depositories, official bank depository for tax collector, designation of regular meetings. Are there any items on this list that anybody would like to discuss? Sure, Alan?
First Niagara is taken over by Key Bank. How will that affect this resolution?
I'm not sure. We'll have to see at that point. We'll get guidance on that, but we just may need to substitute in, adopt a resolution naming Key Bank instead of First Niagara. But it is a successor bank, and right now they still are under the First Niagara name, so.
Does the contract have successor language in it or not? Or do we have to go to the comptroller's office or one of those places to have it reviewed and make sure that it can move on to the next person?
We'll have to find that out until that sale is finalized and when we have information about that. Right now, we're still dealing with First Niagara Bank under its name.
All right, thank you.
Chris?
For the newspapers, I just noticed that some school districts, they put the word and/or, and they include the Times Union in order to give you flexibility. And I think there's maybe some items that we would want to put in the Times Union, so maybe if we have that flexibility, it would allow us to do that.
I believe the issue there is you have to advertise in those newspapers once you designate them, so that's why we designate you have to have 2 that have general circulation within the school district. So I think by designating that one, we would have to put every advertisement and legal notice in the Times Union as well, which...
I think what Bethlehem did was they did and/or. And therefore, there's sometimes you want to put in Times Union, and maybe sometimes you do not, but it gives you the flexibility.
My understanding through legal counsel that we have to utilize the ones we designate, so that's something we probably have to go back to our law firm about.
Judy?
I have a question about designations. The first thing it says is the attachment for the school calendar. Are we discussing that now, or is that?
That's one of the items in
Okay, she didn't,
Yes.
I don't think she read that when she read them, that's all I was, it is, that's why, it is one of the items that I
Yeah,
should, okay, I'm sorry, I just didn't hear that, I'm looking at the other things. And I think we had a question about the school calendar, which is why I wanted to make sure we talked.
Sure. I believe there were 2 dates on here that we had questions about. The first one is the February 2017 meeting, because the other one's July 2017. Okay, that falls on Tuesday, February 14th, which is Valentine's Day. I believe it is also Chris's wedding anniversary, correct me if I'm wrong.
My wife just let me know.
Is there any interest in moving this to a date, and if so, what would the district recommend?
I shared two options with the board. One would be to move the meeting date to the 15th of February. The other option would be to shift all of the meetings up one, and by that I mean moving February 14th back to February 7th, and then January 31st back to January 24th. So we maintain 2 weeks between meetings.
But then we
Then
go
there would
along.
be
Then you go a month in between, which
I don't like, at that time of year, that doesn't.
that is budget season, so that's a long stretch without a meeting.
Well, I would rather see the 15th, I guess, if people aren't comfortable.
Okay. Is that consensus? Is there anybody who's uncomfortable with that?
I like the 7th because I'm in town on the 7th, but that's beside the point.
Teresa, Kathy? Okay.
Either one is fine.
Alan?
I think it's fine with me.
Okay. Seema, that's okay?
Mhm.
Okay, and then the second meeting date, is it on here? It's for the next?
So it's actually the
calendar after
next
this?
fiscal year. It's actually 1 year from now. By law, we're to hold the reorganizational meeting on the second Tuesday of the month unless it falls on a holiday, which next year, July 4th, will be the second Tuesday of the month.
For the first Tuesday.
First Tuesday of the month.
I was going to say, how did the,
I'm getting ahead of myself. So we can move the meeting to July 5th. By law, if it's a holiday, you can go to the next day. If we have interest in moving it later into the month, we would need to pass a resolution in order to do that. My recommendation would be to go ahead with July 5th and get it done.
I think then we
that's a
start
good
to get
idea.
into different people having vacations and things like that.
Yes, it's very difficult once people
Yeah.
get into their summer.
I think July 5th is good.
Is that a separate approval? That since we're doing next year, and then that would be, is that another calendar?
Well, it's another
Or-
calendar. We don't, since we're not making any action, we don't need to do anything tonight.
Okay.
But when we do our next calendar, we will plug that date in.
Okay.
Yeah, that'll be pretty noticeable when you do the calendar.
So are there any other questions on this item G, designations?
We have to make a motion to amend the calendar, right? To change it from the 14th to the 15th, right? Okay, just want to make sure.
Okay. So Alan will make that motion?
I'll move.
Second, Chris? Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Okay, the next item is authorizations. Let's see. Okay, authorizations for petty cash amount and designations, petty cash control and disbursement, register cash amount and designations for school lunch, designation of signatory for self-insured workers' compensation claims account, insurance carriers, resolution concerning attendance at regularly and properly budgeted conferences of all district employees, authorize superintendent to appoint employees on a temporary basis, resolution as to signatures on various claims and authorization for child nutrition programs and all other federal aid programs, appointment of staff member to certify payroll, budget transfers, authorized check signature, authorization to pay claims in advance of the audit of claims, grants, and aid. Can I have a motion? Barbara? Second, Judy. Are there any questions or concerns? Alan?
I have to abstain from the part where the workers' comp.
Okay.
So,
Any other questions or concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes with noting Alan's abstention from the one item. I, official undertakings. Personnel handling district funds will be bonded under a blanket policy unless otherwise noted. Can I have a motion? Seema? Second, Judy. Are there any questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Other items, we have items 1 through 3 on here, approval of rate of compensation to all non-represented district employees, conduct of meetings of the Board of Education, and readoption and continuation of all Board of Education policies. And they have the list of policies there as well. Are there any, can I have a motion? Kathy? Second. Seema? Are there any questions or concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. Okay, now we get to the designation of board committees and school building liaisons. So first, let's talk about the committee survey form. Okay, the first one is the NISBA voting delegates. We had,
I'm sorry.
sure.
Since Teresa's not on here, can she let us know what she picked so that we just know?
Sure.
She's on there.
She's on it then?
Because I'm not on the hard copy.
On the committee.
No, the hard copy. Oh, she's on the
She's in
computer?
the
Oh, I'm
computer.
sorry.
Okay.
I'll just look at that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I know you said you filled it out, so.
Okay, we have two individuals that selected for their first choice, NISBA voting delegates, Barbara and Judy. So we only select one and an alternate. Is there somebody who's willing to be the alternate?
I did it last year. I enjoyed doing it. Are you going out to Buffalo? Okay, yeah, me too. I'm Gloria, so that's fine.
So we'll have Barbara as the rep and Judy as the alternate. Next, we have Capital District School Boards Association. Two individuals selected this as their third preference. That is Judy and Gloria. And then we have three people who selected it as an alternate. So, Judy, do you want to?
Well, I've been selected, appointed something to be the secretary. Colleen had done that last year, and they asked me if I would be willing to do it, so I'm happy to be the CAPSPO representative.
Okay. And Gloria, since you selected it as your third, do you want to be the alternate?
Mm-hmm.
Next, we have policy review. Alan selected this as his top choice. Then we have Barbara, myself, and Chris, and Seema, who selected it as their second choice. So I think we can only take three more people, right? So I'd be willing to forego it. If we want to keep Barbara, Chris, and Seema, is that acceptable?
Thanks. So, Alan, Barbara, Chris, and Seema. Alan. Thanks, Christine. Barbara. Chris, Seema, okay.
Okay, then we have communications. Chris, Seema, Gloria, and Teresa selected this as their first choice. So without objection, do we want to give everybody their first choice?
Was that 4, you said?
Yep.
Does there need to be 4?
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. So can you tell us again who
Chris,
they were?
Seema, me.
Chris, Seema, Gloria, and Teresa.
Audit committee, we had 4 members select that. So we can go with the 4, which would be myself, Chris, Alan, and Teresa.
Well, as
Is that
president.
okay? Or Chris, how many are you already on too?
Well, as president, you were not, unless you want to, you're normally not on any. Right?
That was last year.
Oh, right, you were. That's the other one. That's the PTA one.
Chris, do you want to do that or no?
I don't mind. Yeah.
Are you sure?
I know that's not the one that, people normally want to do, so it doesn't really. Look, all right. I don't think we really shouldn't put this down anymore. It's really, that's why Alan put 3. It doesn't really matter, because it's
Alan
one of
will
the,
always get it.
all right. It's a
Okay.
short straw of the committee.
Business practices.
Is it Chris?
Kathy put it as her first choice. And then we have 2 people who selected it for their second, Judy and Gloria. And then Seema and Teresa as the third choice.
You can take me off because I'm already on 2.
Okay. So Kathy will be there. Judy and Gloria. Teresa, do you want to serve on the third or?
Yeah, that'll be fine.
Okay.
Seema, I have you on 3. You,
I'm
on
in
audit, are
policy
you
and
still on audit?
Policy and communications. No, audit was an alternate, but we don't need it because Teresa's.
Oh, Teresa,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Chris, Alan,
Got
Christine,
it.
and Teresa for audit.
I didn't get Teresa.
We can only have 3 on audit
Oh,
We can only have 3? Okay.
by charter.
I'm fine just stepping down out, Teresa.
yeah, because you have 2 others, Chris, right?
Oh, you have two other ones?
No, you have 2 others.
Yeah, that's
So,
what I'm saying.
yeah.
So it'll be Alan, Christine,
That'll
and
be mine,
Teresa.
too.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, that's good.
And then we have the CPSE, CSE liaison. Barbara, it looks like you're the only one that selected that. Are you okay with that? Yep. And the NISBA advocacy liaison? No selections? Is anybody interested in fulfilling this role?
I did it this year.
Do you want to do
I
it
just
again?
kept passing on the information as it came. Yeah, I don't mind if nobody else wants to do it.
Yeah, you were good at doing it. You got the stuff.
Who's the 4th on business practices? I missed.
Kathy, Judy, Gloria, Teresa.
Okay.
You want me to read them through again?
Sure.
Okay, so for the NISBA voting delegates, we have Barbara and Judy as the alternate. For the Capital District School Boards Association, we have Judy and Gloria as the alternate. Policy Committee, we have Alan, Barb, Chris, and Seema. Communications, we have Chris, Seema, Gloria, Teresa. Audit Committee, we have Christine, Alan, Teresa. Business Practices, Kathy, Judy, Gloria, Teresa. CPSE, CSE Liaison, we have Barbara. NISBA Advocacy Liaison, Gloria. Is that okay with everybody?
Just to
3 for you,
clarify, I'm on
Teresa?
3.
Yeah,
Is that-
you really
is that
should be
okay?
on 2.
Yeah, which 3 are you
Okay.
on?
I thought I heard your name 3 times.
Communications, audit, and
Communications,
business.
audit, and business practices.
Is there one that you would feel comfortable leaving, or?
Well, Chris, no, we took you off because you had 2
Kathy,
already.
you only have 1, right?
Yep.
So does Kathy want to take one of those 3?
Right, and I only have 1.
Oh, you only have 1?
Well, I'm the NISBA,
Okay.
And you have business practices.
yeah, and I have business practices.
So,
I can do communications if you want to, but it doesn't matter. Kathy, if you want to do it, that's fine.
I'm kind of a newbie, so I really don't know which one I shouldn't.
Probably skip audit.
Is that okay then? Teresa will substitute Judy on communications?
That's fine.
Okay. Okay, and then we have the school liaison survey form. So we'll start with Altamont. We had 2 people selected as their first option, Kathy and Judy.
Kathy, why don't you do it, because I see Linwood doesn't have anybody as its first choice, and I'd be happy to do Linwood.
Okay.
Okay? That would, and I could be the alternate for you at Altamont.
Okay, thanks.
Guilderland, we have Seema selected as her first option. So if there's no objection, we can put Seema there. And we had 2 people selected as their alternate location, Barbara and Alan. And Judy selected it as number 2. Is there somebody that wants to serve as the alternate?
I can do it. I don't mind doing it, yeah.
Linwood, Judy, that's where you'll go?
Sure.
Okay, and then we had a couple people select this. Is there anybody who wants to be the alternate? Kathy, Barbara, Alan, or Gloria?
I can be.
I could, okay.
Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah, that's easy, Kathy, and we're back and forth.
That was for Linwood, yep. Judy will be the liaison and Kathy will be the alternate. Pine Bush, Chris selected this as his first choice. Is that okay with everybody? And we need an alternate. Barbara, you selected it as 2, and Gloria, you selected it as 2. Seema as 3.
I can do it.
Okay, thank you, Gloria. Westmere, Barbara and Alan selected it as their first choice. Do either of you feel strongly either way?
I'm indifferent.
Barbara, do you want to do it?
Sure.
This one's always tough because we have our meetings on Tuesday.
And then for the alternate,
I can be alternate.
Farnsworth, Chris and Gloria, do you want to?
I'm gonna do Fine Bush, so I'll take mine.
Oh, sorry about that.
I'll do.
Gloria?
You don't really need an alternate for middle school. When you agree, because we just
If
switched.
you have two people,
Yeah, we have two
doing
people.
it.
Yeah, just make sure somebody
You have
goes.
to have a second
Yeah.
person there, that's all.
Is there somebody who wants to be the second person in Farnsworth? Teresa? Thank you. Okay, and now we have the high school. I think I was the only one that chose that, but
Teresa's in.
Teresa.
Teresa. Okay. Teresa did too.
Is there anyone that?
No, she's alternate, oh, no, she's alternate for middle school, we're having two. Oh, we have two.
Is there anyone that doesn't have a school right now?
I don't, neither does Teresa.
I have,
Teresa has middle school.
Oh, okay. I can take the high school.
Okay, and do we have an alternate for that?
I could be, let's see, no, I can't.
I'm guessing an alternate means that if the other person can't make it.
Yep.
Fine Bush is the same time, so I can't.
So who's doing that? Did you get somebody?
Who's the alternate?
Alan's gonna do the high school, but we're just waiting on an alternate for the high school. Wednesdays at 7 p.m.
Yeah. The only time it will be, the only time it'll be bad is if someone calls me to go to Guilderland Elementary, where I'm the alternate.
Oh, at the same time.
Yeah, and
Same time.
I'm at Linwood, so I can.
We can always email and see, like, if someone else can.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't mind being the alternate if it's, yeah, I wouldn't mind that. It's
All
just Wednesday evenings are rough for me.
You should put me down for alternate.
Okay.
Do they normally have it on the same Wednesday?
We can do,
Oh,
Barb
yeah.
can do it, if that's, if, Okay.
Yeah, if somebody else is
Sure.
able to, I'll.
Barbara?
Wait a minute. I'm not doing Guilderland this year, I'm doing Westmere. Okay, it's okay.
that's okay? All right.
That was the same thing.
And the PTA council, is that what I did?
Yes,
You and Chris.
Would you like me to read them back, or is everybody? Okay. So for Altamont, we have Kathy and Judy as the alternate, Guilderland, Seema and Alan as the alternate, Linwood, we have Judy and Kathy as the alternate, Pine Bush is Chris with Gloria as the alternate, Westmere, Barbara with Seema as the alternate, Farnsworth is Teresa and Gloria, the high school is Alan with Barbara as the alternate, and the PTA council is myself and Chris. Yes.
I'm glad to see that as we made our choices, we did different schools, because one of the things that we're trying to do is hit a different school each year. So it worked out really well this year.
Yeah, I think it did work out well.
I thought there was two representatives at the high school and two at the middle school.
There's two, we have two
We've
at the
only
middle
got-
school, and we've
right.
got one at the high school and one alternate. Unless,
Usually we have
It says two alternates at
It's
the
but,
high school.
yeah, I'm reading it's usually two reps and then an
Yeah.
alternate, but we don't have another.
yeah, we don't have two at the high school.
Well, can't people just, if they can't go, put out an email? It
No, I'm
seems-
not worried about the alternate,
Yeah.
I'm worried about the reps, there's only one.
Now, do we usually have two people attend the high school meetings, or do they go back and forth and share
We were sharing it, I know, Colleen and I, so.
Okay.
But there's nobody to share it there, so that's all.
Yep.
So the alternate is going to, okay,
I should be fine.
okay.
Okay. If there's no other questions or concerns, did we do can I have a motion?
So moved.
Alan, second Seema. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? That passes. Okay, and now we move into the regular portion of the meeting. And the first item on the agenda is public comment. If we have any public comments, I would just like to mention, in accordance with our policy, please limit your comments to 3 to 4 minutes. I think that will be the most efficient way to do it, so. Linda, do we have anybody signed up? Bonnie Schultz. Okay. Bonnie?
Hi, I'm Bonnie Schultz. You may have known me formerly as Bonnie Heller. I was part of the repurposing committee, and I'm glad to see you guys again. I'm obviously a Guilderland resident, a Guilderland alum, and I see the using this extra classroom space, the repurposed space for childcare to be absolutely essential. I was reading the Enterprise, different objections to it, and one of them came up, oh, the quality of this program. And I can also speak to that in that my public health job has taken me to the Victory Child Care Club Fed 6 times in the past month. So in addition to all the obvious reasons that you've considered for including childcare, this particular organization has a vibrant program, excellent classroom management. And I say that from the perspective of being a former middle school teacher. So I'm always looking for good ideas, and I learn a lot from these preschool and toddler teachers. They have a robust curriculum. They're constantly changing the activities using multi-sensory techniques, and I think any of us would be very pleased to have that sort of a program. This is just in case you needed any extra nudging when it comes to this particular contract. And as I think about what Guilderland needs, it needs no less than the Albany Promise down in Albany, where they have a cradle to career commitment. It may not be a Head Start, it may be something that people are paying for, but it's equally valuable to prepare our children, to have them have a good early experience so that they are then more set for the future. And any of the distraction that might cause, I think, would be both ways. It's very situational. I've seen these children parade in and out to the playground through the federal building. It's all about the expectations set. I've also seen classrooms of much older children that would definitely be a distraction. So it's how the program is run, and I can't say enough about this program. I'm not paid by them, I'm not evaluated by them, they don't know that I'm here. But I feel so strongly that we've gone so far to look for different ways to extend our budget, to get more quality community programs, and this is just the perfect pairing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bonnie. I think that was the only individual signed up for public comment. Okay, the first item on our regular meeting agenda is the consent agenda. Can I have a motion?
I'll move.
Barbara, second. Gloria? Are there any questions or concerns about the items on the consent agenda? We have the minutes of the June 14th meeting, the CPSE and CSE recommendations, personnel action, and financials. Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes. And now we move on to information items, curriculum and instruction. Damien?
Thanks, Christine. I'll start with some information from the art department. There was a link included which will take you to see some images from the May 31st visit to the Bernard and Millie Duker Children's Hospital at Albany Medical Center. Our students visited the hospital to drop off and donate the 50 stuffed animals that they designed. This was a year-long collaboration between 2 studio art classes, the Guilderland High School PTA, Key Club, and the Albany Medical Center. The students designed monsters that were transformed into plush toys. The toys were donated to the Bernard and Millie Duker Children's Hospital at Albany Medical Center. Students fundraised through Yankee Candle catalog sales and raised over $5,000 to assist with the manufacturing of these stuffed animals. In addition, the PTA awarded them a grant, and the Key Club also assisted with fundraising. At the completion of the fundraising, student drawings were sent to a company called Budsies, who then created an exact replica of each of the students' designs, and the animals were then donated to the hospital. In the classroom, students took drawings. They created 3D functional jars, which they called their clay monsters. Upon their arrival, the group was led to the Camp Amador room on the floor of the Bernard and Millie Duker Children's Hospital. Students met with 2 of the hospital's child life specialists, where they learned about the role of the child life specialist and were able to ask questions, and 3 of our students had indicated they had interest in this field of study. And the late word from the hospital is that the children have already received the stuffed animals, and the real monster jam is going on. So this was a great real-world learning experience for our students, and an exciting opportunity for them to give back in a thoughtful and resourceful way. So thank you to everyone who supported them along the way. The smiles on the students' faces speak for themselves, so I hope you can take a moment to look at the pictures. They're truly great. Next item is just an update from the Guilderland High School Library. This is their end-of-year report for 2015-16. It is compiled to educate readers in the library program provided to Guilderland High School students in grades 9 through 12. Included information about our library program and the services provided to roughly 1,678 students in Guilderland High. It becomes an integral that the transparency of this program be shared as many do not understand the level of support that the library and its employees offer to teachers, administrators, and students alike. The daily collaborations excuse me, between the librarians and the teachers eclipses the traditional role of librarians that they are thought to provide, whether it is the maintenance of the library as a facility, integrating technology, literature reviews, or educating the students and public on the ever-expanding role of information literacy and what it plays in our students' daily lives. This report will inform readers of the scope and the impact of the library programs offered. Computer automated check-in, check-out was introduced in February of 2016 through the Acculite software program, and this proved fruitful for tracking usage of the library. And this year, the library saw the 11 help desk students as well, who you have met several times over the course of the year. They undertook an independent research project exploring with mindful creativity and curiosity. That's our E equals MC squared program. And this will be detailed in the report, as will the evaluations from the student help desk team. And my next item is just a quick one. The 2014-15 New York State School Report Card is included for your information. This is an annual reporting from the State Education Department on the academic achievement and the demographic information for students in Guilderland High School. So that is there for your information. And then lastly, I have 3 annual plans for your approval, and the approval at the next board meeting. The first is the Project SAVE plan for 2016-17. Second is the Professional Development plan for 2016-17. And finally, the AIS District plan for 2016-17 as well.
Thank you. And the next item, is there any questions for Damien or comments? Okay. The next item is school business management information. Neil?
Thanks, Christine. First item this evening is required by board policy, but it's a annual report on our cellular telephones. We have 35 cellular telephones throughout the district. The majority of those, 21, are used by our custodial and maintenance staff to do their work. It has a 2-way walkie-talkie feature, and that's what we use predominantly to communicate amongst the custodial and maintenance staff. We have 8 phones that are provided to our technology personnel to assist them with their work, and then we have another 6 phones that are utilized by administrators throughout the district. So 35 phones in all. The total cost for the month is $826.65, and that's slightly up about 40 cents from the average cost per month from the previous year. And then all of our minutes are pooled among all of those phones. So with the 35 phones, we are able to pool all the minutes and use them across those phones.
In the pending sale of Hadley?
Yep, some good news here. As you know, we have some property for sale in Hadley, New York, 6.6 acres. We've had it on the market since March. We've had a couple of offers that we haven't taken. Didn't feel they were robust enough for the school district, so we continue to advertise the property. We do have an offer on the property right now. It's for $22,500. We've accepted that offer. The attorneys are working on the closing. If all goes well, we will be closed on that transaction on Friday. And we will have sold our property in upstate New York.
And where does that money go? What fund does it go into?
Well, it's going to go back into the general fund as revenue, miscellaneous revenue. So we'll have a little extra revenue for the 16-17 school year as a result of that sale. And it'll go back on the tax rolls for Hadley. So it's property, obviously, that we haven't used in a long time. And
yeah.
we had no.
This is a personal, not a...
Yes, this is a person, an individual that's purchasing the property.
Good for them. Nice.
Great, thank you. Are there any other questions for Neil? Okay, so we'll move on to superintendent information. Marie?
Okay, thank you. My first item is an update on summer programming. Once again, we are participating in the Capital Region BOCES Regional Summer School Program that is being held again at Mahonison High School. We registered students on June 28th, and the program actually begins tomorrow, July 6th, and will run through August 16th. And the day is from 8 a.m. to 12:05 p.m. And Regents exams will be offered at Mahonison on August 17th and 18th. Within our own building, we have our extended year program for our students with disabilities, and all of those are located at Altamont Elementary School this summer, and that is a result of the many construction projects going on across Farnsworth Middle School. So we've moved all of our programming to Altamont. And then lastly, Guilderland Elementary School, it's their turn this year to host the BOCES Summer School programs. So Alan Lockwood has a full house over at GES this summer as well. All right, my next item, we have just posted to our website the analysis of the exit poll data from our budget vote and board election back in May. It is a robust report. I have to confess, I have not read every page of it yet, but it is worthwhile and,
Robust, yes.
and probably a nice topic for our communications committee to tackle when it meets first. So that's there for the community to review. Other extremely good news from the communications front. You'll recall, thanks to our communications committee and Aubrey Kamler, we did something a little bit different to engage the community this year with the creation of our interactive website with survey, and we have won a Golden Achievement Award from the National School Public Relations Association. And so this association looks at all aspects of school public relations, including communication, marketing, and engagement. And they judge each entry individually against the contest criteria rather than judging items against one another. So I believe this may be our first Golden Award. We have won many, many times. So Aubrey is absolutely thrilled. It's her first year in this role.
Yes, she should be.
And we walked away with a very nice recognition for our efforts to try something a little bit different. So we're very happy about that. And more good news, I'm starting to feel like Dr. Singleton here. I got a call out of the blue a couple weeks ago from Senator George Amador's office wanting to know if there were any unmet needs we had in our budget. He caught me by surprise. I don't often get those kind of phone calls, but I said, well, can I have a couple minutes? He said, well, I need to know today. So we reflected on items that every single year come to the table during the budget discussion and they get put off, not this year, not this year. So I mentioned to his staff that we are very much in need of new choral risers in our choral program. He did not tell me how much money we were getting, so I was kind of just searching on Google for how much choral risers cost. So I gave him an idea, and he came back with, we have $22,500 that will be to our general fund, but targeted to purchase new risers for our choral program. And I'm leaving it to Dr. Hirschenhardt to figure out the building with the greatest needs. So it's...
And how much, will that cover the whole cost of it?
Yes.
Nice. Wow, very nice.
So we're
Thank you.
very appreciative.
Thank you, Senator Amador. Yes.
And last but not least, I probably should have began with this. I just want to extend my thanks to everyone who was part of our very meaningful and beautiful graduation ceremony. Every student, every speaker, every musician, every singer did just a beautiful job. I've heard many positive comments from our community. So it looks like it goes off without a hitch, but it only does because there is a ton of planning that goes into it. So my thanks to the high school leadership team, Mr. Lutzik, his staff, our advisors, Mrs. Autry and Mrs. Benner, who just did a tremendous job, and of course our technical crew who kept all the mics working and the cameras rolling and all of those good things. And of course, congratulations to our graduates, now alumni. So
And also the music was a
They
nice
did a great
part of it, too.
yes,
I
it's
really, they do a nice job.
a great job. And that's all my items.
Great, thank you. The next item on the agenda, we move to the action items, school business management. We will return to Neil.
Okay. Thank you again. We have a number of service agreements. There's actually 5 of them related to the provision of special education services for the next school year. So the agreements that you have before you tonight are with the Center for Disability, CDP Connections, Mary Alice McCraith, Oak Hill, and Upstate Cerebral Palsy. Those agreements have been provided to you in your materials.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve them all together? Gloria, second Judy. Are there any questions about any of the agreements? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, passes 9-0.
The next is a resolution for the school district to participate in the New York Liquid Asset Fund, otherwise known as NILAF. This is an organization, a municipal cooperative that was started in 1998 in Dutchess County, servicing school districts and municipalities in that area. And basically, it's a way to pool investment money. So when school districts and other municipalities have surplus money to invest on a temporary basis, they would be the source of collecting those funds and then investing them as a group to obtain higher yields. So now they're out shopping with a much larger amount of investment dollars and therefore can get better rates for their participants for short-term investments. They've started to expand their reach in New York. They've partnered with the New York State Association of School Business Officials. They have a strategic relationship. They're starting to make some inroads into this area. North County recently signed with them to participate. John Rizzo has looked at this and feels confident that this would be a good vehicle for our temporary investments. It gives us an option. It doesn't require us to participate at all, or we can participate as often as we want. We can still look at other alternatives for investing money. Doesn't preclude any of that, but it allows us, if we so desire, to be able to have this as another option for our short-term investments.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the municipal cooperation agreement? Barbara, second Chris. Are there any questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes.
Next item is a legal services agreement, and this is with the law firm of Gervin and Filazzo, and this would be for the provision of legal services for special education students, and this is the firm that we've been working with in that capacity for many years now. So we'd like to continue that relationship going forward.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the legal services agreement? Kathy, second Alan. Any questions? Judy?
This is just the special education. This isn't the part that we work with Jeff Honeywell with.
Correct. So we have the Honeywell Law Firm as general legal counsel on retainer.
Okay.
That does not include special education services. So this would be a specialty, special education services through Gervin and Filazzo.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 9-0.
Next item is a recommendation for approval of an internship and practicum experience for college students at SUNY Oneonta. And we do have one student interested in an internship with a social studies teacher at the secondary level.
Okay, can I have a motion for the internship agreement? Seema, second Kathy. Are there any questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 9-0.
Next item is the recommendation to approve the lease agreement with Victory Child Care Incorporated. Our attorney drafted the agreement and it has been reviewed by Victory Child Care. It's essentially the same document that we provided to Victory Child Care in terms of the items within the lease agreement, and we're recommending it for your approval.
Can I have a motion to approve the lease agreement? Gloria, second Kathy. Are there any questions? Chris?
Just a couple questions. I just wanted to make sure for number 2, when I was reading, when it says provision of preschool, pre-K instruction and associated child care services. I know there was some concern from the committee and we rejected it that, daycare type services, infants with cribs and everything else, we obviously did not want here and we rejected that. I'm just worried that when you say and associated child care services, are we sure that they could not bring anything like that into one of those classrooms?
That is correct. They aren't licensing the rooms for that purpose, so it's being licensed as preschool, which is 3-year-olds, and pre-K, which is 4-year-olds. So the associated part of that is associated with those programs. So child care services associated with preschool or pre-K instruction.
So we're sure that that type of piece
Yes.
is comfortable? Okay, if you're comfortable. And then I just wanted to bring up, I know there were a couple concerns that people brought up, and I know it's not always going to be in this document, so I just wanted to see. One of the questions was about parking, and we said about certain spots and stuff like that. That's more of an agreement between you, but that's not something we put in the contract, right?
Correct. That's really how we manage our site. So Victory has not asked for specific parking areas, but what we did is we looked at the utilization of traffic utilization in each of our schools, and we want it to be effective for our school district and for the pre-K program. So we want to make sure we have a good plan in place for trapping and drop-off, and making sure that safety is part of that plan as well. So we like to control that aspect that occurs at our schools.
Right.
So we don't want to dictate that in a contract, and we may need to amend that from time to time as we see how things work. So what we're going to be doing is identifying some spaces that we think will work well for pre-K drop-off. If we need to change those, we can change those by having it in an agreement. Then that's something that we would have to negotiate our way around. Once it's an agreement, you have to negotiate all those provisions. So we would like to maintain that flexibility, see how things work, refine it as we go along. This is our first endeavor working with a pre-K program. It's their first endeavor in working with the Guilderland School District, so we're going to have to work through some issues and make sure we can make the program work well for both us and them, and to be an effective program.
I know at our meeting you mentioned about the nurse, but I didn't see any language about the nurse's responsibility when it comes to
The nurse's responsibility, and really there is no nursing responsibility associated with the program on the part of the school district, and their regulations, and I think we all have to understand, they have a very detailed and stringent set of regulations that go along with offering a pre-K program. It's about 100 pages long, very detailed. It's the New York State Office of Child and Family Services that oversees the program. And just like we have regulations in school districts, they have a slew of regulations that they have to follow as well. So there's some provisions in there that talk about who's allowed to provide medication, how they must store medication, and all of those sorts of things. That's all detailed and will be reviewed by the Office of Child and Family Services, but that will not infringe on our nursing services. So our nursing services will still remain with our children. If they have an issue, primarily they're dialing 911 if they have a serious issue, and they have to follow their protocol and the state's protocol in terms of responding to incidents. What we do understand, though, is if there was a severe emergency that happened, our nurse could be consulted, but probably could not administer medications or assist in any other way, just the way the regulations work. So we're really seeing those as two separate and distinct things.
I think it would be good when our communications committee meets to put something on the website that addresses just so that individuals understand that we did hear their concerns and we are answering those concerns, but they don't have to be in the contract. But specifically, like what you just said about the nurse, we answered that type of question, or about the gym and the cafeteria. I understand why it's not in this document, but I just don't want people to think that when they read this that we ignored the concerns they brought up, or about the parking and stuff like that. And then I know we just mentioned the word safety, protocols, and I know Dr. Wallace, you mentioned that maybe we could put a piece on there. So I think that would be something very good for when Gloria and the communications group gets together to really think about that.
And we do dictate those things that happen on our premises. Certainly there's nothing in the contract that precludes that, and that's why we would want it, because we have to control our grounds and our property. So any of those issues, we are going to be having discussions about procedures and protocols that most likely will be subject to refinement and change over time. So that's another reason why not putting them in a contract, where now we have a legal obligation to do things in a certain way. We need to have flexibility in those areas as times change, as things change, to be able to make changes just like we do in policies and procedures here at the school district. We need to have the same flexibility with this provider.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions or comments on the lease agreement? Gloria?
Not specifically about the lease agreement, but I think, this vote tonight is the culmination of a lot of hard work by a lot of people, 2 years in the making. And I think what really impresses me is the kind of cooperation that came, this came as an idea generating, we were stuck with a problem, and we got together. We kind of pulled the community together. The community partnered with us. The ideas came forward. We analyzed the ideas. Members of this community, the Guilderland community, were involved at every step of the way and really participated and guided this. And I just feel really good about this whole process and the product that we're presented with tonight. So I'm happy to see this vote come tonight.
Yeah, and I was very pleased with the Enterprise article and talking about Victory. And that's her name, right? It sounds like she's just very much in control and will be an excellent partner with the district and for the children who use the service. I was very pleased.
I just want to make one comment about that. I mean, I know my own son, you always look at everything through your own son's eyes or whatever, but he's been through 2 years right now of pre-K at St. Madeline. And see the difference between now and at the end of the 2 years is remarkable. What was great was that he was actually able to get services for his speech early on instead of kindergarten. And I hope people understand this. Then now he was able to do that, so now when he enters the kindergarten, he's not going to need those services. He's not happy about that because he really likes the teacher, but he's not going to accept that. But now you're far enough advanced that it's not K and first grade you're getting pulled out of your classroom. It was in pre-K. And I hope people realize that when you're going to bring all this together, how much of a service it is going to be for the students.
How much work it is they're providing.
Yeah.
Before we vote, did Victory indicate how the registration was going?
She had 40 firm when we spoke last. She has not advertised yet, so she's confident that...
How many total can she have?
120.
Wow, okay. Good for
6
her.
classrooms, 15 students each.
She hasn't advertised yet?
I think she'll be very close to filling them.
Slightly larger.
Yes, but I still think it's 15 students. I'm looking at Neil because I haven't memorized the
Yeah,
contract.
it's either 15 or 18, I'm not sure.
I think
They have a little more
A little
square
more
footage
space.
there.
Yeah.
Kathy?
I just wanted to just agree with what Gloria just said, that it's been just a very collaborative process, and a lot of people participated in these committees and thought about this a lot. So I think I also feel good about this occurring.
I'd like to just say something about the whole process and how I wasn't involved in the process prior to getting here, and I can't say anything more than I appreciate all the work that's been put into it. I will, however, I'm sadly going to not be voting yes, just because of the fact that I appreciate that it would go into the elementary schools. I'm just not a proponent of it going into the middle school. I think that I don't think it's an appropriate facility. I think the 2 elementary schools is, and I just, because it is one contract, and I myself will not be voting for it.
Okay, thank you, Teresa. I too would echo what Gloria had said. I think it's going to be a great addition to the district, and I'm excited that we will hopefully be approving it this evening. So if nobody else has any comments or questions, all those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Okay, passes 8-1. Thank you. And we're looking forward to it. Okay, Neil, the change order?
Okay, and next item is change order. It's for Titan Roofing. It's a deduct change order, a reduction in the contract amount of $150,000. Basically, in terms of construction, whenever we bid contracts, the architects and construction manager look at each element of the project, in this case roofing, and try to determine how much money should be added to the contract to take care of unforeseen conditions and build it into the contract. So when the contractors get the bid specifications, they're told, come up with your price for the work, but in your bid price also include X amount. In this case, it was $200,000 for those unforeseen conditions. The benefit to doing that is you can buy that work without what we call overhead and profit. So later on, if we have to go back and ask the contractor to do some extra work, there's going to be additional charges, not only for the work, but they'll add on what we call overhead and profit, so the cost will increase. Here we're buying it without the overhead and profit already intact. So as we go through the project, some of that allowance gets used over time, sometimes it doesn't. We were very fortunate on this particular project that the roof decking was solid underneath in all of our roofs. We didn't have that issue of having to replace roof decking, which sometimes is a concern. Other times the insulation underneath is bad, so we have to replace insulation, or we find that the insulation is damaged and we don't have the right pitch to drain water off the roof. So sometimes we're also replacing insulation and building pitch back in and doing all sorts of things like that. But in this particular instance, we had very little in terms of unforeseen conditions. None of those things really happened with our roofs. So it's good news. So at this point, we're looking to take back that money. We're able to reuse it in other places within the project. We still have about $20,000 remaining for the rest of the roofing work. We feel that'll be adequate in case we, again, run into anything that we didn't anticipate when we bid the project. But right now, we'd like to get your approval to take that $150,000 back out of the contract. And that's the amount that we will not pay the contractor. So, you know, it was in his bid price. We're reducing his price, and he won't get paid for that money that wasn't used.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a motion for the change order? Judy, second Kathy? Are there any questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 9-0.
Next, we have some obsolete and surplus property we'd like to get the board's approval to sell. You'll notice it's a number of items that you would often find in a kitchen, refrigerators, ovens, and those sorts of things. We are refurbishing our family and consumer science classrooms in the middle school, so this is old items out of that classroom. The equipment is being replaced, so what we'd like to do is sell these items that have been in those rooms for quite some time.
Who buys these? Yeah.
We open it up, you'd be amazed. We get bidders we have regular bidders that
Okay.
throughout the district, and some district employees also regularly purchase from the district surplus items. So,
Okay.
but it's all bid. People submit their bids. We'll evaluate the bids. We always go back to the supervisor. If it's not sufficient money for the product or item, we don't have to sell it.
Okay.
We can hold on to it.
Now, how much typically might we get for refrigerators in poor condition, but it works?
I'll be anxious to see as well. We don't really sell many of these appliances. We really haven't sold a lot. We do buses every year.
Yeah, I was
We do
wondering.
other
Yeah.
equipment, but we really haven't. We don't have a lot of appliances to begin with, and we don't often sell them. So I'm not quite sure, but we'll be interested to see how it works out.
You have to report back. I want to
Yeah.
know what.
Okay,
Yeah, let
okay.
us know.
You guys can bid as well. So Linda has the forms. You can go see Linda.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the declaration of surplus and obsolete property? Judy, second Gloria. Are there any other questions or comments? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 9-0.
And then finally this evening, I'm pleased to recommend the acceptance of two donations. One is a trombone from resident Jim Higgins, and another is a monetary donation to the Butterfly Garden Memorial Fund from the Farnsworth Middle School PTA.
Can I have a motion to approve the donations? Barbara, second Kathy. Any questions or comments other than thank you very much? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 9-0. And now we will move back to superintendent action. Marie?
For the board's consideration tonight, I have two contract ratifications. The first, we'll take them one at a time, I would guess, is with the Guilderland Administrators Association. This is the newly merged unit of our assistant principals, house principals with our instructional administrators. So this is a contract, their first contract is a joined unit. I will mention that the resolution should read that the bargaining agreement is from July 1st, 2015 to June 30th, 2018. That is a typo, the number 5 there.
Okay, can I have a motion for the first one related to the Guilderland Administrators Association? Gloria, second Seema. Are there any questions? Yes, Chris.
I have to abstain.
Okay, Chris will abstain.
I have a few questions.
Sure.
How does this stack up to what we gave for parameters?
Within the parameters provided by the Board of Education.
Is this the one where we had to come back and redo the parameters? Or is that the next one?
That was the second one.
The second one, okay.
Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 8 with 1 abstention.
The next contract is also a newly configured organization. It's the Guilderland Support Staff Association. This includes our aid monitors and all non-transportation support staff.
Correct, so custodial, maintenance, food service.
And we have an agreement with them beginning July 1st, 2015, also through June 30th, 2018.
Okay, can I have a motion for the Guilderland Support Staff Association? Judy, second Kathy. Are there any questions or comments? Alan?
I have the same question. So what is it, we had to change the parameters, so what did we, I forgot what the parameter was, so maybe you could just refresh my memory, that would be great. And we're within it, I'm assuming.
Yes, we were within the board's authority for the settlement.
Any other questions? Any abstentions? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Passes.
My next item is a resolution that will transfer titles from our non-instructional supervisors and other management personnel unit to the Technology Personnel Association. This is a recognition of our 3 technology leaders who are all going to be within the Guilderland Technology Personnel Association. When we reorganized the people to do the work, we didn't necessarily have them lined up with the appropriate bargaining unit. So now we're having all 3 technology leaders in the technology unit. There are no costs associated with this. It's simply a clarifying of the titles and the units in which they belong.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the transfer of titles between units? Judy, second Kathy. Are there any questions or comments? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Passes 9-0.
Thank you.
And now we move on to board president action. There's one item on the agenda this evening, and that is the establishment of voter registration dates and locations for 2017. We have a resolution to approve, which reads as follows. Whereas the Guilderland Central School District Board of Education is required to set by resolution the time and location of personal voter registration dates to be held not more than 14 days nor less than 5 days before the annual vote and election. Now therefore be it resolved that the Board of Education pursuant to applicable law establishes May 4th, May 8th, May 9th, 2017 from 8:30 a.m. until 2:30 p.m. at the following locations: Altamont Elementary School, Guilderland Elementary School, Linwood Elementary School, Westmere Elementary School, and Pine Bush Elementary School for personal registration for said annual vote and election. Additionally, any person otherwise entitled to vote at said annual vote and election may register at the Guilderland Central School District Offices, 8 School Road, Guilderland Center, New York, on May 4th, May 8th, and May 9th, 2017, between the hours of 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. May I have a motion to approve the establishment of voter registration dates and locations for 2017? Alan, second Chris. Are there any questions? Kathy?
It says one from 8:30 a.m. until 2:30, and then it says 8:30 a.m. until 4:30. Is that, which one?
One's at the district office.
And the other
Oh,
one's at
okay,
the later.
okay. All right, I see that.
Are there any other questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 9-0. And now we move on to board committee reports. I believe one committee has met since our last meeting, and that was communications, right, Gloria?
Did we meet? I can't remember, we've met so many times. I have some notes here. We did, we approved the minutes, we reviewed the board workshop. We talked about the workshop we're going to do tomorrow and setting our goals. We had some suggestions for you to pass on to Dr. Wells regarding that. And then I think that was it. We didn't have anything else major on the agenda at that point. We were waiting for the results of the survey. We didn't have that. We said we would need to look at that. And we talked a little bit about the configuration for the voting, but it wasn't any major topic except for the retreat, which we felt comfortable with what Dr. Wells was planning. Both of you, Wells and Wiles.
And the workshop is scheduled for tomorrow
Tomorrow,
at 6 p.m.
yep, 6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Until,
No later than 9 o'clock.
okay.
And dinner will be provided, so we'll start with dinner at 6 and then start about 6:30. And
Be nice sometime if we didn't have a healthy dinner, we just had some.
You're terrible.
Is that in the conference room tomorrow?
yes, we'll be in our conference room.
Okay, and the next item is public comment number 2. Linda, do we have anybody signed up? No? Okay, and then we're moving on to board issues, ideas, and sharing. And before I ask anybody if they have any issues, ideas, and sharing, Marie has talked to us in the Friday update about the Chinese delegation. So if we can just have a brief conversation related to that, that would be great. What is everybody's thoughts?
Well, I can refresh your memory a little bit. I got an email from a Dr. Reggie Sinha, who would like to bring a group of students to Guilderland in September. And this is the part that makes me
So
a little
quick.
nervous. For a visit and then to do performances within our school buildings and then around the region, and it just seems a lot to it for September.
But we're only responsible for the school piece.
Coordinating the school piece.
That's all.
Yes. But that's often,
Early September? We have
it's
dates?
mid-September. So I just need some guidance.
Have you talked to Alex about, about the social studies people I would think would be really interested in
Well, I think they're more geared toward visiting an elementary school because it's a
Okay.
primary school age. It's the Yukai Primary School, and I believe they're from the Shanghai area.
Is that near where you people were?
We flew out of Shanghai. It's near Suzhou a little bit, about an hour and a half, you think, drive?
But there's no connection.
No, it's not another. My sense is they are looking for another partner school, so I'm a little reluctant there as well, since we, in theory, have our other partner school, which we can do some more work with, I suppose. So we can do anything, but I'm interested in your thoughts.
What would it entail?
Well, that's kind of the problem.
Providing them an opportunity to,
We hosted students from delegations from China before, and we did that just this past winter, and it was quite a bit of coordination of transportation and meals and, visits, but that's all I know at this point, and I don't know that I'm going to get more information before it comes right down to it.
And when is the visit?
It's mid-September. They
We don't
haven't given me the actual dates yet.
We don't meet again until September, right? So we would have to approve it.
No, we meet
We
in
meet in
August.
Oh, in August,
And
sorry.
I don't need approval per se, but
Right.
I mentioned this to Alan and to Christine when this came in, because it will be an effort for the school community.
At a difficult time of year to,
For October and November, I would feel a little better about it.
I wouldn't feel comfortable rushing the decision, so only because it's September, I wouldn't feel that comfortable with it. Just not knowing anything, it seems really vague at this point.
I guess I'm in the minority. But, I read it, and I didn't feel like it was a tremendous burden for a school district, but mainly providing the opportunities, or the opportunity to meet with, to present to kids, and, it didn't sound like we had a housing, we didn't have to worry about housing or transportation. It sounded like they were responsible for everything else. But they were just coming to us. I know you're looking at me with that look. And I'm thinking,
I will do this. I will
seems
see
like
if I
such
can
a
get
great-
some more concrete information.
yeah, you have to feel good about it, just because, but to me, it's such an opportunity for kids that I hate to miss something like that.
Have the building principals been able to?
This came after
Yeah.
our last
Oh,
leadership meeting, so,
Bounce it off. Doesn't it sound wonderful?
well, it does sound wonderful.
I know,
Yeah, that's not the
I know, it's the work involved. I understand.
when you're so busy organizing, the whole school year, you're sort of still up in the air.
Barbara?
I would just say, I would have you pursue it a little bit further. I agree with Gloria. I think it's anytime kids can see students from another part of the world and just share a few moments with them, as long as it doesn't involve feeding, transportation, all these other things that
Right.
you're talking about. Especially our ESL program. I think they would be thrilled to, and their students would be thrilled to see, we have a lot of kids from the Chinese heritage.
Perhaps we have a
Maybe
committee
Marcia
that would like to take
Could
this
take
on.
this over. Well,
Let me do some more homework on
okay,
it,
all right.
and then I'll seek a committee to
And we
assist.
will,
Alan?
When you do your homework, I guess I'd ask the following question. What benefits would we reap from it, both the students and us as an educational facility?
Well, at this
What
point,
would we gain?
what
What
benefits
benefits?
would we?
benefits.
I think it's what both Barbara and Gloria have alluded to. Our students would have the
Cultural.
opportunity for a cultural experience.
Okay.
Again, I would comment, in making your evaluation, we need to think about what our mission statement says, which is lifelong learners. So the work might be a lot, but it is a learning experience, and that's what we're here for.
Hey, committee.
Yeah, we know who's on the committee now.
Okay, we have one more
see you
question.
guys.
Okay, sure.
I just noticed, I think you seemed a little skeptical just because you probably didn't have enough information about this group or
Well, and I asked for additional information, and I shared everything I have, which is still not very much.
Right.
It is, 8 weeks from now. That's
I will
okay.
say, I will say the lady wasn't very, or the person, I'm assuming it's a lady, right? I'm not sure. Her email was very short and didn't give a lot of
It was vague.
Very
details to like what they're going to do. They basically approached me, in which I forwarded to Dr. Wiles, and asked if they could have an invitation to come to our school with little or no detail. So
Well, we could we could look at it positively and say, well, they've left it open, we could shape it. This is what we'd like you to do. You asked, this is where we need you to be and what we need you to do.
I'm just giving you some
I
background.
know you are.
You know, how it transpired, and I do share your concern. But I also want us to keep in mind what our mission statement says.
Absolutely, which is why I brought it to all of you.
You know, we have a great ESL program, and we have some really top-notch parents of these kids that are, I mean, I was over at that ESL extravaganza, and some of the parents are, maybe they could help some of the parents of Chinese students that might want to help shape it and say, this would be helpful. Here's our committee.
I mean, I see all the benefits of it, but again, it's 8 weeks, like Marie said, and it's pretty vague, so I wouldn't feel comfortable saying I support it without knowing anything. And most people are going to be gone like the next month, in the next 8 weeks, so logistically, I just don't see how I would support that.
You don't want to do a job less
No,
than
you don't
do
want
it
to
well,
just
and
throw it together.
that's, I think, what the problem
I
is.
will invest a couple more days of trying to get some good information.
Okay.
And,
Whatever you decide, though, we'll
I will let
we'll be
you know.
fine. We'll be fine with it.
Okay. Are there any other board issues, ideas, and sharing? Chris?
Just real quick, someone gave me a book called The Deadly Wandering, and I'm not sure, I meant to ask Damien if we have our high school students reading it, but any parent that has a teenager that is about to drive, you should definitely pick up this book and read it. It's about a landmark case, which is the first case in which a kid was driving, texting, and ended up killing 2 people, and what the legal ramifications, and in it he also goes into all the studies about distraction, and me with my Apple Watch and my 2 iPhones and my trying to drive, it's difficult for anyone nowadays, I think, especially for a teenager. And it's a very interesting book, and I think anyone who is starting out to drive really should talk about it. And I think after you read it, you'll take your phone and probably put it in the glove
What was the
compartment.
title again, Chris?
Wandering?
The Deadly Wanderer?
Wandering.
I think it's appropriate for
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and what I thought was interesting is that he switches back and forth from the actual story to here's hard evidence of it's very similar to almost drinking and driving, and people don't see the connection. He really goes into all the connections of it. You're really trying to drive, especially at a young age. You're starting, and you have all these distractions in the car, and this poor kid. And I mean, he does speaking tours so I don't know if he still does it, but it would be. I know Herzog did a short documentary, and one of the stories, it's about a 30-minute documentary, is about this kid who did it, and there's another. There's about 4 or 5 stories in there about people who are texting and driving. You go through a stop sign, you cross a median, all these other things, and you take someone's life over a silly text. So it's a powerful book, I have to say.
Thank you, Chris. Is there anything else? Okay, if there's nothing else, we need to make a motion to enter into executive session to discuss the following matters: parameters pertaining to the board's strategy with respect to negotiations with the Guilderland Teaching Assistants Association and the Guilderland Technology Personnel Association. Can I have a motion? Judy? Second, Alan. All those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Passes 9-0.